in my kind of everyday job with barriers to education. So I work a lot helping students kind of assess where they're at in their personal lives as they're trying to go through training. Because I think you guys will find out, and I'm super excited that you are working with a facility and that you're going to be going through your CNA while you're being paid to work. That is awesome. Um, I'll kind of be checking in with you about how things are going in your house, if you have everything that you need, if there's something maybe additional that you need too with like academics. Um, so it's kind of like your support person. My whole kind of function is to make sure that if students need something so that they can complete training or that might support them, whether it's a social need, so maybe it's some sort of social service that you need, or if there's anything that might help you complete your training, that's where I come in and chat with students and help get them connected with services.
Perfect. I think that's wonderful. Kelly is definitely going to be the person you probably hear from the most with this program. I am Becky Weininger. I'm the person who kind of project manages the apprenticeship programs. So I am primarily working with the businesses, whereas Kelly's working with the students. So a lot of times if you're not sure who to go to, Kelly can direct you if it's not her. But a lot of the questions that I would take care of is questions related to your Department of Labor requirements, questions about, you know, if you have a question about, you know, your business that you're working with and stuff, you might have that. But I would go to Kelly first for any questions, and then she can direct it to me if that's a better question for me. So again, I'm Becky Weininger. I'm the project manager for the apprenticeship programs here. Congratulations to all of you. As Kelly said, working while you're learning is awesome. And so we're so glad that you guys have this great opportunity. There's a few more individuals you'll be working with throughout the program. Instructors, if you have questions on class content, the grading, or the structure of the classes, please reach out to those instructors. They are the right individuals to answer those questions. And then if you have concerns about the responses you got from your instructors, at that point you could escalate to Kim, the program manager. But always your first go-tos when it comes to questions in your program are Kelly and your instructor. Kelly, am I missing anything as we're talking about the individuals they'll be working with here at Kirkwood?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, Kelly, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about last week's storm.
Yeah, so I'm aware that some of you are in Cedar Rapids or perhaps live there. And I just am going to do a quick check-in. Becky listed my email address and my office number. I am probably going to give you guys my KPay cell phone number, and you're able to text that number as well, because I just want to check in with people. I know that I just got back to work today. We were without power for 5 days. And it was extremely difficult. So if you are impacted by the storm, either your housing has been impacted, maybe you're currently homeless, or the structure you're in is not safe, or you're staying with family members, I want you to please reach out to me. If you do not have power and internet right now, I can definitely send you some information about if you've not already been in touch with Alliant or Mid-American to find out when you're potentially going to get power or internet back. And I have some paperwork and some resources that I've gathered up where I'm just going to read one of these because it was pretty awesome. So it's called the Iowa Individual Assistance Grant Program, and it provides grants of up to $5,000 for households with incomes up to 200% of the federal poverty level. So if you have a household, and in your household you have a family of 3 and you're earning less than $43,000, you would qualify for this $5,000 grant. And the grant is available for home, car repairs, replacement of clothing and food, temporary housing expenses you might have had to pay. If you want and reimbursement. If you maybe had to go stay in a hotel, if you have your receipt, they'll reimburse you for that. So there's just paperwork that has to be filled out, which I would be more than happy to come drop off to you wherever you're at. I don't mind doing that, getting out of the office and bringing you printed paperwork to fill out and then sending it in for you. The other thing is, if you're receiving food assistance and maybe you lost all your food as a result of the storm, you can apply with DHS to have that food reimbursed to get back some of your food assistance money. I also have contacts. We have a Kirkwood food pantry, and there are several food pantries and different things in the community I can help connect you with. And you certainly don't have to tell me on the call with everybody, but and I'm gonna give you a second, if you have a phone, you can go ahead and text me right now, or you can just write this number down. But my phone number is 319, and I'll also put this in the chat, that'll help, 319-210-1417. And I'm gonna put this in the chat box so that you will be able to look at it throughout. That's 319-210-1417. And you can just shoot me a text and say, hey, this is, Angie, or this is whoever, want to talk with you about food, or want to talk with you about the grant, so that we can help and get you connected with any resources you might need.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelly. That is a lot of great information, and I hope everyone takes the opportunity to reach out if they need those. So let's talk a little bit about this registered apprenticeship. You may have said yes to something that maybe you don't know all the details about what it all entails, and that's okay, because we're going to just talk a little bit about it. It's it's got 5 different parts that really go into it. This is a program that is registered with the Department of Labor. What that means is that the federal government has approved this program, and that they believe that this is a really great program designed to get someone the education they need to complete or advance in the role that they have. It's a 1-year apprenticeship, so we've got 12 months. It's typically for a full-time employee. There is 155 hours of class or related training that comes through Kirkwood Community College. And as part of that, it's 2,000 hours of on-the-job learning, or what we call work hours. So your on-the-job work hours. That equals 1 year. The 155 hours is actually 2 different classes. The first class is the CNA Basic. The second class is your geriatric class. If you have already taken a CNA Basic class, you're already a certified nurse aide, you can come into the program and start at that second class. So it works out really well that way. Once you've got those things, your work will also appoint someone to be a mentor who supports and validates your competencies. And then finally, the Department of Labor will provide a national recognized credential for your CNA apprenticeship. One of the important parts about an apprenticeship is that there is wage compensation growth that happens during the process. If you are at the very beginning of it, meaning you have been hired prior to being a certified nursing aide, you will start at a higher rate that may be lower than an entry-level CNA. Once you are certified at the state level, you will have a raise up to that entry-level CNA rate. And then our geriatric course is taken roughly 3 to 6 months after you've been working as a CNA. And then once you've completed the 2,000 hours and that geriatric course, you'll see another growth in CNA wages. If you are coming in after your basic class has already been taken, you may be at a different level for a CNA, but you should see an increase after you complete the program as a whole. So completing your geriatric course and then the 2,000 on-the-job hours. Some of the things that you should know about being an apprentice is that you are required to show up for every class. When this is online, you need to log in and do the work that's expected. Kelly, can you talk a little bit about accumulative points at this point?
Yeah, so I am going to be in communication with you, kind of sending a progress report of how you're doing academically. CNA is a very rigorous course in the sense that there's a lot of quizzes and tests. As a matter of fact, you'll find that when you start the class, it'll be like you'll read something, do a chapter, practice a skill, take a quiz or a test. And that will be kind of the process throughout the course. As you're going through, they are counting up the total amount of points that you need to pass. And guys, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's something like maybe there's 350 points available and you have to get 280 of those points, something like that. What I often talk with students about is that if you bomb a test in the beginning or a quiz, you want to be really, really careful because you've lost those points. When we get to the final in CNA, a lot of times we have the minimum amount a student can miss. So maybe the test is 120 questions, and because of what you've done prior, you can miss 12, and that's it. This course is very strict because it's monitored by the DIA, which Certified Nurse Aids, monitored by an entity that looks over your grades. You have to get 79% at Kirkwood in order to pass through CNA and go to your clinical. If you get 78.9%, you may not go forward. So it's super, super important as you go through. Don't let this stuff sneak up on you. Stay on top of your coursework weekly. Monitor how you're doing with your tests and quizzes. The instructors are wonderful and they will keep you up to date on, hey, ooh, you didn't do so well with this one. Let's make sure we study a little bit harder next time. This is where you're standing in terms of your points. And I'll certainly be emailing that stuff out to you. I like to get ahead of academic stuff. If you start taking those tests and quizzes and you're like, oh, this isn't going well, I'm struggling. I don't know why, but I'm struggling. I need help studying. Something's not getting through. Please, please, please contact me. We can talk about a tutor. I can maybe connect you with another student so you can have a study group. If there are people at your facility who are going through the class with you, study together. That always helps. But definitely contact me if you notice anything academically, especially if you haven't been in school for a while. Sometimes it takes rhythm to get back into the rhyme of how you're going to get through a class.
Perfect. I thank you. That's said really well. You heard Kelly talking a little bit about that open communication. So critical to the success that you can have with this program, both with your employers and your instructors. Along with that, you are employed as part of this program, so you have to show up for work. You cannot be in this program if you're not employed. So as you're coming across things that you don't understand, ask questions of your mentors, ask questions of your instructors. They're there to support you through this program. And then one of the other things that's important is that you'll be provided a copy of your skills sheet that you need to have your mentor sign off on as you're performing them throughout your time in the program. So make sure that you keep that going, and we'll follow up with that once your class is completed. To tell you a little bit about the mentor is a requirement by the Department of Labor. It is a 1-to-1 ratio. That means you have one mentor for every one apprentice. Your mentor will evaluate those skills and sign off on that competency list. They're going to provide that guidance and feedback as well as answer your questions. One of the important things I always like to say is you're not going to be working with them all the time. You're not going to work side by side or anything like that. You're still performing your job as you would independently. They're just there as an additional resource for you. So sometimes there's a little confusion like, oh, I don't actually get to work as a CNA. No, you're totally going to work as a CNA once you're through your first class. And even as you're doing your geriatric class, you're going to still be performing as a CNA. So, you know, you'll be on your own performing those skills. Things to know. This program is an online class as well as labs that are in person. So you will need to have access to an internet. Free Wi-Fi is on campus, and then we have computer labs that are here as well. The Department of Labor paperwork will be coming, so I'll be sending that via email or dropping it off at the facility you're working so that you can complete it there. Books are provided as the program is going. So in other words, I'll be dropping off. If you haven't already received your book, you should be receiving it probably later today. They are being delivered to the facilities that you work at. If you haven't already signed up for the Kirkwood Alert, I highly encourage you to do that. If there's ever a situation where classes are canceled due to weather or any other reasons, it's going to come through your Kirkwood Alert. And as always, keep in touch with your instructor to see if they're rescheduling the class that was canceled. Location, which in this program, they are always rescheduled because they're all required. Locations of classes. I said that they're going to be in Jones Hall and Lynn Hall, but I apologize, that information's inaccurate. Most of your classes, the labs are held actually at the Lynn County Regional Center. So my apologies on that information not being updated. Course updates. Kelly mentioned that she's going to be providing an update to you on an every other week basis. So every 2 weeks, you're going to receive an email. It's going to look kind of like this, where you're going to be informed of what is completed for weeks and what's remaining and how you're doing on modules versus what's remaining. And we kind of look at those two percentages. If there's too much of a difference, we may say, hey, you might need to, spend a little more time this week and get caught up so that you're back on track. But Kelly will provide any additional requests in there and may include an additional comment or two as she's putting those out to you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us about that. I'm sorry, reach out to Kelly if you have questions. A little bit about the healthcare entry-level apprenticeship. Our apprenticeship program is relatively new. Our first group went through in March and second group in June, so you guys are our third groups. We have 2 different classes, the CNA Basic and we have the Geriatric Specialist class. An average starting hourly salary can be between 11 and 13, and then the average 1-year wage can go from 12 to 15. This program is designed to create a leader and a mentor within the CNA role. So there's a lot of great things you'll be learning over the next year. You heard Kelly mention that there's online modules and quizzes. 100% attendance means that it all needs to be completed. It is roughly 30 hours of estimated time. It can take some people a little bit longer, but 30 hours is what is expected. Kelly talked a little bit about the accumulated points. This is required by the state. They are certifying the class and going through everything. The quizzes have to be done with a special browser, so please make sure you take time to ensure that that is all loaded onto your computer that you're using to ensure that it goes smoothly. It is located in the Talon CE. I put that website over on the side there. You will receive an email with instructions on how to gain access to that. Due to the storm last week and a lack of power and internet, the emails did not go out. You should probably be receiving those in the next day or 2. Feel free to reach out though if you are concerned you haven't received it. If you're taking our CNA Basic course, just a few reminders. There is a criminal background check form that needs to be filled out and a DHS check that needs to be filled out. Those are both online. The physical health form filled out by a doctor, as well as an immunization record. Your physical exam would need to include 2 TB tests within a year, or a quantiferin gold or T-spot blood draw. The Tdap, I think that's the tetanus shot. Seasonal influenza between the months of October and March, as well as a documentation of hepatitis B vaccine or the signed waiver of the hepatitis vaccine. The doctor's release stating that there's no lifting restrictions is also important for our clinical rotations. Your CNA class is just 30 hours of online class and quizzes. There's 25 hours of lab time. The first lab will start August 19th. I'm sorry, not August 19th, August 26th, because we have delayed everything by 1 week due to that storm last week. And then the 30 hours of clinical rotations can be held at your employer or at another location. And you'll get more information on that as that comes closer to time. Again, 100% attendance is required in order to be certified. During the time you're taking that class, it's going to be preparing you for direct care for residents in nursing home settings, ensuring proper resident safety, hygiene, and nutrition, as well as preparing you to take that state skills test and state written exam. When you're a couple weeks away, when you're getting to that point where you're starting your clinicals, we will schedule you for your state exam and get that set up. So at that point, someone will call you to find out what date works best for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kelly on that too. As I said, 2,000 hours of on-the-job work is required, so that's full-time employment. We can have special arrangements if you are a full-time student. The geriatric course is a 70-hour online class. The modules that are ready to go, it is at your own time, but with deadlines to complete those modules. It's recommended to take about, you can take it 3 to 6 months after you've completed your CNA course. The most important thing is that you have experience as a CNA before you take it. I'm not going to go too much into detail on those competencies, but it ranges from learning about concepts on the aging and body system changes, understanding resident assessment process, the specialty nurse assistant role, as well as understanding ADLs to maximize independence, expanding knowledge and understanding the aging considerations and client preferences. And we get into the social needs of residents as well during the aging process. Providing appropriate care and interventions for cognitively impaired residents, end of life, as well as the nutritional health of geriatric residents. You're going to learn a lot more about explaining the observations that you're seeing, increasing awareness of side effects, gaining mentoring and training skills within your CNA role, as well as improving your communication skills. We have a few minutes for any questions, but before we do that, I just wondered if anyone had questions. So I'm going to open it up to the floor.
I do actually have a question.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Really quickly, before you ask that question, I just wanted to throw in here, Becky, and I'm sorry, I just noticed it. So one of the main things I'm going to be providing for the students who are beginning the CNA basic, not necessarily the geriatric specialist, but CNA basic. When you attend your labs, you're going to have scrubs. They're Kirkwood blue scrubs, white tennis shoes, watch with a second hand. Those things are required for CNA class. I have a voucher for you to come get those things in town at K Jeans, which is in Southeast Cedar Rapids near Keeks. If you're familiar with that, K Jeans is a nursing supply store. You can pick out a top and a bottom in the Kirkwood blue color, and then a nice pair of white nursing shoes. A lot of times students will tell me, oh, well, I have a pair of white tennis shoes, but you really want to make sure you invest in a nice pair of shoes if you're going to be standing on your feet for a while. So it's a wonderful place. All of the CNA basic students in that class are going to have access to that. You do need to connect with me though to make sure that you can get your voucher and you can go in. The voucher is worth $125. You basically get $125 worth of free stuff. So you don't have to go out and purchase it yourself. The other thing that we're able to do is mileage for students as they're traveling to campus from their homes. It does have to be within 5 miles. So you have to at least be traveling from 5 miles away. But I can get that printed out for you. And it's not a ton of money, but you know, 5, 10, 15 bucks for gas is definitely helpful if you're a student and you're working. So those things are available for the CNA basic. Geriatric specialist, you do not need scrubs, and you're doing your class completely online. There's no clinical component. So a little bit of difference, but I just want to encourage you, if you're doing CNA basic, please, please, please reach out to me, because I hate it when students don't use the free money that's available. And I'm going to turn it over now. You can ask your questions. I just wanted to make sure I got that in so that everybody was there.
So you answered the question for the scrubs though, but where did you say it was at, the voucher I'd have to go get?
So what I've actually been doing with CNAs is I send it directly to the store. So you just show up at the store. The owner of the store's name is Nina, and that is a store here in Cedar Rapids. It's in the middle of Cedar Rapids. It's called K Jeans. And K Jeans is a nursing supply store, so they have all kinds of scrubs, all kinds of different nursing shoes. They work with Kirkwood a lot, so you would let me know, hey, I need to go get my scrubs. I would send the voucher to the store, let them know when you're coming, and then you can go pick out your stuff. And it's a pretty simple process. So you don't have to come to me and I don't have to come to you. You just go straight to the store. I just need to
Gotcha.
know when you're going. Yeah.
Okay.
If in fact you are a CNA who is doing the geriatric course and you have need for any of the things that Kelly mentioned for the basic, reach out to Kelly. There may be opportunities that we can also to help you there too. So definitely we want to do whatever we can to help you be successful in this role. All right. Any other questions? Dorcas or Angie?
No, all my questions were answered.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all for your time today, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dave.
Bye.
Oh, okay, bye.